The very, very funny Mr. Romesh Ranganathan. Romesh, great to have you back on the show.
I mean, this is a bit embarrassing, isn't it?
Why is that?
Well, because you've got these guys on it like some that's won a competition.
Well, but in a way, Romesh, we're all just who won a competition, aren't we?
There's some bloke sitting home watching this just going, oh, they've got to have one of them on every bloody show now, haven't they?
Well, you've raised the issue of diversity there, of course. I don't have batteries, but Oscar, it's been a big story that the Oscars is essentially a very, very white situation.
Well, I think it's an interesting one. You know, Will Smith, obviously, there's some controversy there that he should have been nominated for an Oscar, but I don't think that's because of his race. I think it's because the Oscar panel remember Wild Wild West. That is, you can't have a mechanical spider and then win an Oscar, mate.
No, that's a strike against you forevermore. So you recently, since last we spoke, we were talking about your family's roots in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
And you returned there to make a show with your mother, I believe. Is this correct?
Well, my mum sort of sent me out there. The whole idea was that my mum was sort of annoyed that I don't know anything about my heritage. She kept calling me a coconut. And so... sort of a, you know, it's funny, but it is kind of a racial slur. But, so she had become concerned that I didn't know anything about my heritage. So the whole idea is that I go out and to Sri Lanka and sort of get connected with my roots, you know. Because, you know, I'm English and I'm proud to be English, but I've got this beautiful heritage that I didn't know anything about.
Well, I've never been to the country, but I understand it's just one of the most beautiful places on the planet, so it must have been lovely. But did you enjoy meeting relatives who perhaps you hadn't encountered before? Was that an interesting and informative experience for you?
Yeah, it's good. It's difficult because I'm an Englishman in an amazing Sri Lankan disguise, right? So what basically happens is that everyone expects you to be able to speak the language and be culturally sound, and I just didn't have a clue what I was doing. So I'd just be walking around and go... And I go...
Hold on. That's his lawyer you met out there.
That's his stereotype, mate. Yeah. Seriously.
And so, is it a modern kind of place now, or does it feel like a step back towards a different time?
It was difficult because, you know, sometimes a lot of my relatives have not left, you know, the villages that they're from originally and can't speak English, and I can't speak Tamil, which is my mother tongue, and so you can't connect with them as much as you'd like. And I had this one thing with... there's an uncle, one of my uncles, who, in the episode that he was in, he didn't speak at all. He just sort of wiped me down for the duration of the episode. And he introduced me to his wife, and she's sort of a slightly portly woman, and he said, Romesh, my wife. And I went, all right, cool. And then he went, fat, no? Right? And then I looked at her and she was going, yeah, fat. And I thought, like, they just don't have a hang-up about it. It's just like, matter of fact, you're fat, you're ugly, we just all get along. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of nice.
Now, you've got 3 boys, haven't you? Is that right?
Yeah,
and now they're sixth form 1.
Sixth form 1, yeah.
But I've heard, when I hear you speaking in your comedy, you tend to talk about the 4-year-old more than the other 2. So is that's a richer source of material?
Well,
you just don't like the other 2? What is it?
Well, actually, the opposite is true. The 1-year-old is not contributing anything. You know,
not pulling his weight yet.
Not personality-wise or anything. You sort of look at him and you go, do something. You know, our ongoing futures depend on you being amusing here.
He's being lazy. Lazy kid.
Yeah, the eldest one is quite sweet. Just, hi, Daddy, love you, Daddy. I love him, but I don't like him. You know, that's it's a very difficult thing. But the fact of the matter is, I like that about him. Yeah. I think he will be a great adult. It's just a nightmare
right now.
Yeah. You know, he's not even got a survival instinct. You know, and I find it frustrating. I resent sort of giving him birthday presents because I think you've done nothing to get to this point. But it sounds like I don't want you to think that I don't love my kid. It's just that he's got these personality flaws. He doesn't listen to anything I say. He doesn't have any respect. But I sort of wish the older one had a bit of that, you know, sort of questioning. My oldest son is very keen. He's too keen. You know, like, he's just sort of, hey, no, you should have heard what happened at school today. You know, don't assume that I care. You know, in terms of...
Well, but Amy, are you as involved in your children's lives as Romesh is? Do you find them as much a source of constant pleasure?
It's so freeing when people call their own kids assholes. It's so funny. No, I mean, my guys are 5 and 7, and brothers, really enmeshed brothers, very different, and constantly fighting and making up and loving each other and arguing. They're just like, it's just a constant soap opera in my house. And the older one just tortures the younger one, just with a blink of an eye can psychologically destroy him. He's done this new thing now where my younger son will be playing with a toy, and Archie, my oldest, will come over and say, "That's mine." And Abel will say, "No, it's mine." And he'll say, "No, everything in this house is mine." And Abel will just look at me and say, like, "Is that true?" And just some days when you're a little tired, you just say, "Yeah."
And Sasha, is it 2 girls and a boy?
Too early to say, really. I mean... I haven't checked. There's not many signs either way. I mean,
It's best to stay fluid.
Yeah.
OK, let me ask you about this show you're doing. It's called It's Not Rocket Science. Starts Tuesday, 8 p.m. here on ITV. Tell me how this works.
I don't look like I'm that keen to be involved in that.
It looks like 2 of you have jumped on that young woman for a selfie in the street somewhere. She doesn't know who either of you are.
Anyway, so basically the show is the 3 of us. It's a science show, but you don't have to have any science knowledge and indeed interest. It's just sort of more asking questions about the world, if you like. So, but it's sort of everyday stuff. So, for example, one of the things I did was... you know, with a regular household vacuum cleaner, you can lift up a car if you've got the right size nozzle.
Just the regular suck on a vacuum cleaner would lift a car?
A regular vacuum cleaner would lift a car.
No.
No, mate, I'm serious. Right? So basically, what they wanted to demonstrate that. They wanted to demonstrate that, so what they did is they suspended me using a vacuum cleaner above a tank of crocodiles. Because obviously if you have the car and stuff, that's not glamorous. What they said is, "No, Rom, it's better if you actually, like, you could die." You know, so... But yeah, they just put me up and then just spun me over, and, like, the vacuum cleaner was the only thing holding me up.
Wow. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at Romesh's new show. This is It's Not Rocket Science. It starts Tuesday night on ITV. Have a look at this. No one was killed yet during that show. But you were, because we mentioned you being a teacher, you were a maths teacher, weren't you?
I was a maths teacher, yeah.
Did you enjoy teaching? Was it an exciting experience? Because I guess to see, you know, have young minds and to help shape them and push them towards a brighter future, that must be a lovely feeling.
Yeah, it's great. The truth is, I did love teaching, but I thought I wanted to do... You know, the problem with teaching for me is it's all about the children, and I wanted to do something that's all about me.
Yeah.
And that's like...
That was your calling. That was a vocation for you.
Yeah.
Well, you did your share. But, Amy, your parents were teachers, weren't they?
Yeah, both my parents were public school teachers. And they had so much crazy... They had so many crazy stories. My dad kind of taught the bad kids. My mom taught the good kids. And I just... Most of my childhood was spent up in my bedroom looking through a window at the bad kids, you know, raking leaves in our lawn.
Wow.
It's kind of like
you took them...
Yeah,
He brought
we
them
took
home.
them home. My parents would, like, you know, help. They'd help them get extra money because
they had a system of slavery.
Yeah, that's right.
It sounds like your parents were doing pretty well out of these bad kids.
Like, you have to break our leaves or you don't get an A. Yeah.
We had one kid at our school that was, like, really badly behaved, and he was an Asian kid. His dad sounded like your lawyer, and he came to have a meeting. We're having a meeting about it, and he said, "We're saying we don't know what to do about him. You know, it's really tough." And he says, "Why don't you just hit him?" And I said, "Well, we're not actually allowed to do that." And then he said, "What if I gave you a letter that said you were?"
It's great to have you again. So you're touring all this year. You've got 2016 pretty much fully booked.
Yeah, I'm touring all the way through the year. I think spring's sold out, but there are still tickets for autumn. Yeah. We've gone for venues that are way too big, so please just...
The smile you did then, which was slightly mocking, was really, really terrifying.
Yeah.
Romesh Ranganathan, ladies and gentlemen, go see him live if you get a chance. He's a phenomenal comedian. Thanks to all my guests tonight, of course, Mr. Stephen Fry, the wonderful Amy Poehler, and the brilliant Sacha Baron Cohen.